Over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had problems in virtually every part of our lives. Our jobs, our houses, our schools, and all of our experiences have been altered, and we've been forced to make necessary adjustments to the way that we live. But in that time of uncertainty, another problem remained uncertain. How would we help kids dealing with social struggles while isolated by the pandemic lockdown? During the most severe parts of the pandemic, families were forced to quarantine in their homes to prevent the spread of the virus, which took away most social interactions for kids. Due to this, kids may have felt isolated or neglected. Without their peers, they wouldn't have somebody to talk to. Their parents might be too busy, and they might not be able to understand their struggles. This isolation can especially be a problem for people on the autism spectrum or have some sort of learning disability. This is where my senior project comes in. I decided to address the isolation and lack of peer support head-on by making an online social group for kids to give them access to social support virtually during the pandemic. The social group has two methods of interaction: weekly meetings on Zoom for real-time discussion, and Discord messaging for timely communication outside of these weekly meetings. I call this project the Social Outreach Program. I created this program with Mike, my speech therapist, as my mentor. I worked with him to invite kids so that they could join the virtual social group. In Mike's practice, he works with kids who have diverse forms of autism and learning disabilities. Many of these kids struggle with social situations and communication and would possibly benefit from having social and peer support during the pandemic. Mike sent an email to parents of kids in grades 6 through 12 to invite them into the group. I made my social outreach server on Discord, an instant messaging app. I created an individual community, or server as they call it, to allow for instant communication through voice or text. By building this server, I gave kids a safe space to speak up about what bothers them and get help from their peers. Here we were also able to talk to other group members about a variety of interesting topics and answer daily questions. The daily questions were asked so that we could keep group members engaged and start branching conversations with one another. I chose to have the server on Discord because I knew that a lot of the kids who are on the spectrum regularly use it to communicate. Discord is integration for video games and voice chat features, and many of the people on the server play video games and are therefore more familiar and likely to use Discord rather than other instant messaging applications like Instagram or WhatsApp. There is another specific reason why I created it on Discord though. Discord allows for servers to have separate text channels for specific purposes. For example, we made General, our main channel dedicated to talking about various topics, Memes, where we share our epic meme collections, Music, where we discuss what we like to listen to, and Question of the Day, where we ask our daily interesting questions that encourages members to tell us more about themselves. We also have a channel that allows people to vent their frustrations, hence the name Vent. This channel was set up so that if a member needed to urgently speak to one of our moderators, we would be able to provide them with an immediate response. This feature allows for all of our members to feel like they're cared for and that somebody had their back, especially if more than one person responded to help them out. If more people respond and relate to the frustrated member, then they could get more validation and feel like they matter, which is the whole point of this group, to make the group members feel like they're a part of something. When I set up the Discord server, I knew that the threat of trolls and scammers was a constant threat. To counter this, I added moderation bots that enforced rules on the server and kept it private. The last thing that anyone wanted was for someone to come in and start making a mess with rudeness and negativity. So we kept the server private and did not share it outside of the group. We needed it to be as secure and safe as we could to maintain a positive and collaborative space. Not everything went as smoothly as preferred on the Discord server, as we had a handful of people break the rules on numerous occasions. We worked with members to help them understand how to balance open and supportive communication with not being disruptive to the entire group. We tried to be flexible and accommodate any immediate needs, and update our server rules as needed. Also, if anyone had disagreements, I worked with them to communicate with respect. We wanted to maintain the server's positive environment, so we had everybody politely work out their disagreements on topics without having them say anything hurtful. A lot of Discord servers are guilty of turning a blind eye to this widespread internet issue, so I wanted our server to positively change that. Our second method of interaction was through our weekly live sessions. Mike and I would host meetings over Zoom, where we would have people verbally express what was currently on their mind, good or bad. These Zoom meetings were held on a weekly basis from January to July 2021. And while attendance varied, group members were able to talk about shared experiences and give support to each other. Mike was then able to use his expertise to help them find coping strategies. We structured our meetings with two 30-minute sessions, chatting about topics and playing video games. We talked about various different topics during our first structured block, such as communicating to neurotypicals or managing time wisely. I obviously didn't want to sound overly preachy or give the members advice that they didn't want to hear, but I wanted to share my experience and understanding so that they could feel more connected to others in the group. With this, members gradually started to open up more and more and help each other with their problems. A lot of our members enjoyed playing video games, myself included. Knowing this, we employed video games into the second half of our meetings so that members would have a chance to bond through the games that they played. We also played a lot of custom-made levels in Minecraft and Roblox outside of our meeting times, which were very fun and something that we continue to do occasionally. With the rise of vaccines making COVID less of a threat, but before the variants, we were fortunate enough to have a lot of the people on our server meet up in person. I was able to meet the great people that I had talked to online for the first time, and it was really fun interacting with them. Specifically, the events that I went to were an escape room in the King of Prussia Mall and a hike at Valley Forge National Park. We were creating lasting bonds and friendships through these events we went to, and even though I was only able to attend 2 of these meetups due to scheduling conflicts, they're some of my greatest memories to look back on. I'm glad we were comfortable interacting and having fun with each other, and I'm glad we were simply able to have a good time. At the beginning of this project, I thought that some aspects would be both easy and difficult. I specifically made creating the Discord server and the rules for it the top priority, which was admittedly easy enough. The hard part was dealing with problems that people were causing, which were incredibly disruptive. I knew that people needed the group so they could have somebody to talk to, but sometimes they would be so disruptive that it ruined everybody else's time. So this led to an internal struggle on my part. Still, I was able to stay focused and work with the group and individuals one-on-one outside of the server. This relieved the stress in the group and allowed problems to be addressed without further disruption. I was able to communicate the expectations for the members and keep the inclusive, positive environment. It was quite time-consuming, admittedly, but it was definitely necessary. In this project, we were able to have our members open up about what they were struggling with in a private and supportive environment. We were also able to implement video games into our program and meet up in the real world to have fun. In the virtual social group, members had the opportunity to explain how they're feeling if they're not comfortable saying it in public. I helped them practice their social skills so that they could take what they experienced and apply that elsewhere. But most importantly, in these times of uncertainty and isolation, I helped the members provide peer support to each other, something that is crucial to their well-being. So for these reasons, I think the social outreach program was a great success. I'm so glad I was able to do this, and I'm even more glad that even though the project is over, the group is still going strong.